Prompting for a good t-shirt design in MidJourney is not as easy as some here on YouTube will have you to believe. It's a real skill and it's actually quite difficult. I've been making photos on MidJourney for a while now. I also use MidJourney to create thumbnails for my Danish YouTube channel. So for this video, I'll show you my best tricks for making good t-shirt designs in MidJourney. And I'll recommend that you watch all of them because they can quite often be combined so you can match your exact style and preferences. You need access to MidJourney, but not to Photoshop in order for this to work. And that's where the skill actually comes in, because it's quite easy to get something out of MidJourney. But when you want to put it on a t-shirt, you sort of find all the small details that does not work. So one of the designs I made in the last week's video was this design of a girl and her dog. And take a look at the hand. It's that's a left hand on a right arm, and at first glance this design looks good, but when you take a look at that detail, it looks strange and awkward. You can see there's a link in the description below to my shop, and you can see the design live there. I will keep it up just to show you some of the failures I made. So I've been experimenting with some of these prompts that give actually quite good designs here. And I do have a bonus tip at the end, so stick around for that. First off, you will see me putting some parameters in. I use MidJourney version 5.1 here. Since then 5.2 has just released, and you can use that as well. I find that 5.1 tends to be the best for t-shirt designs, but you can play around and maybe have the same prompt in every version and see what different it is. But I would recommend starting with 5.1, so I add that in. I also add no mockup here, is because I, in some of the prompts, use the word t-shirt design, and that will sometimes give a t-shirt in the actual image, and that's a bit difficult to remove afterwards. And that sort of keeps the t-shirt out of the design. I use a quality score of 2. The default is 1, and I just up it 1 just to have a better quality image. That takes up some more server time, and I can make less designs for what I'm paying, but I find that will actually give a higher result on so I tend to not to have to redo the prompt and then use the hours that way anyway. So I use quality score of 2. I found that aspect ratio of 3:4 seems to be good for the designs I want. If I just want the square designs, they sometimes get a bit squished, and when I try to put them on t-shirts, it looks not as good and doesn't use up the space. So that's the aspect ratio that I found that works best. And then I add something in about the background. White background or lighter background seems to be easier to remove, but if I want to put it on a black or a darker t-shirt, I could actually add on a black background. I usually add on a light or on a white background, because MidJourney just sometimes ignores that and gives me 2 of each, and I can actually get something to choose from. So I add in white background here as well. The first prompts I use is Kaiwei, I don't know if I say that right, or cartoon style, and that gives somewhat a playful style, and you can add cute in there as well. That tends to work good with specific items or with animals. So fruit or food in general, and animals or flowers or that kind. And that gives a bit of a playful vibe. And that also takes some of the anatomy faults that are in MidJourney with the right and left hands out of the play, because if a cartoon character only have 4 fingers, that will actually be quite normal. The next one is Synthwave or Vintage. That's not completely the same. Actually, it's very different, but it gives a more 90s, 80s style look, and you can combine that with cartoon as well, of course. Here, I think that works with well with situations. So a surfer on a surfboard, or a panda eating something, or that type of design. And you will see me now add in the word contour. You can also add clear outline, vector graphic, or bold outline, just to make sure that it's the design is contained in itself and doesn't have something sticking out, and that will make it more difficult when you remove the background. So that actually is something I usually add in as well from the here going forward. To add to the playful style, I sometimes use the word colorful or maybe rainbow to add more color, of course, and that usually gives a more playful style, and that seems to be what others are making on their t-shirts, to have very bold colors. That doesn't work too well together with the vintage style, but maybe Synthwave is a better suit for a combination. I've also seen some people here make a line of animals, or a line of cacti, or a line of something similar but different characters. And you can get that with using the word sets, the words sets of in your prompt. And you maybe want to here play around with the aspect ratio. So if you pick an aspect ratio that is long and thin, you would have a long line of more designs. If you pick a more square design, you will have a bunch of them together, and that depends on how we want to use them. If you want to have it on as maybe just on the pocket print, or if you want the whole thing, or if you want something across the chest. So you can play around with the aspect ratio there. Next up we have flag badge, and that usually gives a round design, but you can also make them triangle or square, or rectangle rather, and that seems to be working good with something that could be an icon. So an animated or illustration of an eagle, or a cowboy, or a truck, or a truck tire, or something along those lines. So that's good for if you want for a community to add something in that they identify with. So the eagle might be good for 4th of July. I'm in Europe, so I don't really know. Maybe you can tell me if that's a good thing or not. But if you want to pick something, maybe not a cactus, because that's not obvious. That's something that you can gather around. So you want an icon or symbol that people can gather around. I've played around with the next one here as well. And that's exacerbated cultural features. And you would need to add some context to MidJourney for what that feature or that culture will be. And I've seen with some of the designs, I'm maybe walking the line of being not inclusive, or maybe walking the line of having a design that could actually be provocative to some people. And I really want to not disturb anything. I want to be inclusive, but I try to avoid making cultural designs about cultures I don't know too much about, in the fear of me making something that will provoke people or misusing a symbol in a not correct way. But if you know something about this, this could actually be used good together with the flag badge and making a print for a community that will go for that specific type of design. I just realized when my hair is drying, there's something, this is coming out. Hopefully you can live with that. I'm not going to be able to do anything about it. Next one up is half-toned screen print. And that's something that maybe fits more with the screen, with wall art and prints and that sort of stuff. But I've been playing around with it for t-shirt designs as well. And for a guy my age, that brings a retro vibe to old video games and old sci-fi movies and that sort of stuff. So I've been playing around with that, and it actually combines well with the vintage prompt I started with. Try to avoid copyrighted stuff, of course, not just to make an alien design or a computer graphics design that actually looks too much, but still give the vibe of a retro video game sort of stuff. I'm going to share with you once I get the hang of that prompt, but it's going to be fun to play with. And then the bonus tip. Try to add some contrast in your prompts. Not contrast in colors, but contrast in what is depicted there. So a surfer on a surfboard can, or just an eagle can be good for the community I was talking about, but you sometimes see a cute kitten that is made like an evil cyberpunk robot sort of stuff. So the cute and the robot is combined here. And you can have a spaceship that is overgrown with green plants and taking some of the space out and bringing it back to Earth. And that's not two things that usually combined. So I will add a longer list in a pinned comment below, and we can maybe have a discussion in the comments section, or have some ideas flowing around for where to put contrast in. I have some interesting ideas, so take a look at that. And then let's look at some stats for the Etsy shop case study here in week 3. Nothing much has happened, and I wouldn't expect it to at this point, but let's look at some honest numbers for an Etsy store this age. When you first post articles on a website, Google will not serve you any traffic for at least half a year. So seeing that I only have like 40 visits here is not surprising to me, and I would not be surprised that if I don't bring my own traffic, that this will continue for at least a couple of months. So I'm going to be posting more listings, and hopefully eventually some people will end up on my store and hopefully make a purchase. I know that people can see faster results with this, but I do believe that this is an honest result for what you can expect as a beginner, as I am. That's all for today. Till next time, take care.